Hello, Hearthstone fans, and welcome to the Wednesday 100 brought to you by GamerSensei, where 4 of the top coaches on our platform are going to duke it out for a winner-take-all $100 prize pool today. I'm Astrogation, and I'm joined by...
FGI Shadow. Hey, everyone. Hey again. Another week. We missed the last week because of some technical stuff, but we are back again. Are you excited, Hearthstone? Astro? Sorry, oh my god. I'm so excited.
Yeah. We actually have a new face here today, Nicolina. She's actually going to be the first female participant that we're going to have on our Wednesday 100 so far, and so I'm interested to see what she's going to bring. You know, she's one of the better female players out there. She was on Team Esports Hero and is currently looking for a team. So anyway, check her out. She's done quite a while. She's done really well in open tournaments.
Yeah, and I think she might play with her teammate, with her old teammate, because I learned that Kirst and Nicolina were on the same team, and now they will play with each other. So
okay, yeah, I think they were both on Esports Hero.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be a really great game. And on the other side, we have Deathlor against Rusty, two guys we have seen a lot of times in these tournaments.
But you know, the thing is, none of these players have actually won a Wednesday 100 yet. You know, we've seen, you know, Death Star and Hotmeow. You know, they've kind of been dominating the tournaments that we've been running. But this week, for sure, we're gonna crown a new champion.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited to see. I mean, Death Star and Hotmeow simply crushed except the first one where you were the winner. But they crushed the rest of Wednesday 100. Today they are not here, so yeah, we will have a new champion. Maybe Rusty. Rusty's here from the start, and it's not happening for him. You know, maybe it's his time now. We don't know. Maybe Deathlor. Deathlor was here all the tournaments except one, I think. Yeah, probably. So yeah, those two. Kirst is a new guy. I mean, his second tournament. Nicolina, her first. We will see.
Yeah, exactly. Rusty and Deathlor are both going to be definitely very thirsty for that win. But you know, it's kind of unfortunate they had to get paired together. But oh well. Only one of them will make it to the finals. All right. Well, we are going to actually have Nicolina versus Kirst coming up first. Any predictions on your end?
I think they have a pretty similar lineup, if I recall. I don't know. I think Kirst is hungry enough. We talked about it. He wants to win. He told me the last time. I mean, Kirst lost twice with some bad luck and maybe some bad decision as well. You remember probably the faceless to a mana tide and stuff like that. So yeah, he told me he will win this one. So he's dedicated for sure. But Nicolina she's a great player, so I'm not sure. I will go with Kirst on this one, but it's really hard to say.
Yeah. So wait. So Kirst is bringing Druid, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. Nicolina is bringing Mage, Rogue, Shaman, Warrior. So there's the only difference is that they're bringing Mage, or Nicolina is bringing Mage, whereas Kirst is bringing Druid.
Yeah, exactly. And we know the ban as well. So they both banned Shaman, nothing new. It's pretty obvious these days. Everyone is banning Shaman. Oh, another thing though. Did you play on any Tavern Hero qualifier?
No, I haven't been playing any Tavern Heroes because I have enough points to qualify for prelims already.
Oh, that's great. So I just think that whoever doesn't ban Shaman these days should be like it's really hard not to. It's a great deck. You can't know what you're facing. Mid-range Shaman is possible. Jade Shaman, Aggro Shaman. And yeah, I don't see we will see a different ban today. Do you? Maybe, I don't know. Would you ban anything else if you went for
I have seen people bring lineups to ban Rogue because Rogue is it's a tier 1 deck that beats most control decks. Obviously, Rogue's weak to aggro, so you basically bring a control lineup and then you ban Rogue. in the control lineup, you tech it to be aggro. I've seen that kind of lineup. I think it works out pretty well. I don't think it's as strong as the Ban Shaman lineups, but it's definitely something to mix in if you are comfortable playing control decks, because if everybody expects a Shaman ban, right, and you ban Rogue, I guess it can basically give you a surprise element, whereas people aren't going to be predicting the field because you're bringing, something that's not expected.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one of my students qualified on the Tavern Hero by bringing a lineup that banned Jade Druid and Rhino Lock. It was a control warrior, Rhino Mage, and two other decks that are pretty good against aggro. But you're right, it's really hard to go that direction, right? To leave Pirate Warrior and Shaman there. I like it when I see it, because it's something Death Star would do for sure. But other than that, yeah. But other than that, it's Shaman ban is really common, and it's probably the strongest mathematically and logically. Shaman is one of the strongest class right now. So I think we are close to this first game. Yeah, they start in 10 seconds. Okay, that's great.
All right, awesome. So yeah, Nicolina versus Cursed. Yeah, both players banning each other's shamans. It's actually interesting because Nicolina has Mage, and Reno Mage is typically favored against Shaman, so maybe she's bringing Tempo Mage. That could be a consideration. I've seen some people, and we actually saw this with Death Star a couple of weeks ago when he brought Tempo Mage, right? And people were reading it as Reno Mage, and they were mulliganing incorrectly for it. Same thing in open tournaments, or even this tournament. You could just bring Tempo Mage to surprise people. And the problem is, though, if you are banning Shaman, they can maybe make a read on it. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Deathlore mulliganed his backstab, and he kept Auctioneer because he was pretty sure he's facing a Reno Mage, and suddenly it was a Tempo Mage. So yeah, it was a great surprise from Death Star. He simply won the game because of that. So I guess it could be, yeah. I mean, it could be a Tempo Mage. Yeah, why else ban a Shaman? I mean, okay, you could still ban a Shaman, right? It's still a pretty strong deck. There's no way you're gonna 0-3 that with this lineup. But let's see.
Yeah, well, actually, it looks like it is going to be Reno Mage, and I guess if you are going to bring Reno Mage and ban Shaman, what you typically do is you make your Reno Mage a lot more greedy and less, anti-aggro. So you'd basically be cutting cards like MC Tech, for example. Maybe you don't run a Mistress of Mixtures, and instead you run greedier cards so that you can beat Reno Locks and and also the Reno Mage Mirror.
Yeah, and right now, this hand, pretty good, right? I mean, from the Reno Mage hand.
Yeah, Nicolina's hand here is pretty good. She's got the Reno, she's got Kazakis. Water Elemental is really, really good against Pirate Warrior because, I mean, you basically can coin it out, and if your opponent has a weapon, they put in a really awkward spot where if they don't clear your Water Elemental, you're going to freeze them every turn and they can't use their weapon. But if they do clear your Water Elemental, it's getting a lot of value, and then it's also, of course, freezing them for a turn as well. So basically, if they ignore it, they're in a bad spot. If they deal with it, they're in a bad spot, and it's a really good card.
Yeah, and one of the reasons Reno Mage is pretty strong against Pirate Warrior is this card. I mean, yeah, of course it's Reno, of course it's all the other amazing Reno cards like Kazakus, but Water Elemental is a big card in this game as well. So okay, that's pretty unfortunate for Chaos. When a Pirate Warrior has to hero power on turn 2, that feels bad.
Yeah.
And no turn 3 play 2. Wow.
Yeah, really unfortunate start from Cursed. Yeah, I don't see how he's going to win this game because, again, Nicolina's basically got the best, one of the best starts that a Reno Mage can have. She's going to simply Frostbolt the Buccaneer, and there's basically just no early game pressure from Cursed here.
Wow, hero power again. Oh gosh, that feels bad, and especially with a hand with Reno, Water Elemental. Oh gosh, I'm pretty sure Nicolina is gonna get this game.
Yeah, Pretty certain it's going to be a coin water elemental here. I mean, coin Kazakus is okay too, but the thing is, usually you take a 5, and if you're taking a 5, you're not going to be playing the turn after, so you might as well just get the water elemental out first.
Also, you stop the Arcanite tree per turn, right? I mean, when you coin out water elemental, it's you can stop the Arcanite Reaper. Maybe Nicolina is planning that. Let's see.
Yeah, and like we talked about, like if you don't deal with the water elemental, you're frozen permanently. But if you deal with it, the Reno Mage heals for 7 in that case, and the warrior's still frozen for a turn. So still, Cursed has a long way to go.
Let's see. So in this situation, I'm pretty sure she creates a 5-mana spell. I guess it's Felbloom, right? Yep.
That's actually kind of close. I think taking the demon there was actually kind of okay, because basically Curse's signal that he's very low on minions, right? He didn't do anything for turns like 1 to 3 or 2 to 3, so you can kind of guess that Cursed Hand is low on minions. So then the AOE is a little bit less valuable, so maybe taking the proactive demon is a little bit better, but we'll see how it goes. I do see that she did take the AOE because the demon showed up again in the second choice, so we'll see. It's actually going to work out here because even though Curse didn't have minions from turns 2 to 3, he is going to play out 2 minions on this turn.
Yeah, it's a bit unlucky because let's discuss Cursed odds right now. I mean, Arcanite Reaper upgrade is a good thing to have, even if the opponent Reno, but Nicolina has Reno and Ooze. So, gosh, it feels bad now for Cursed.
Actually, looks like she might be thinking about using the Ooze now, and this is,
I think no, there's no way. There's okay. Okay, yeah. I think it's too risky, right? Would you ever use Ooze right here instead of simply pinking?
It's actually kind of close. I mean, in this particular case, because we do know that Curse has an Arcanite Reaper in his hand, it's better to save it. I mean, it's easy to say, but I think I might just tempo out the Ooze there because a 3/2 body is actually kind of relevant. Plus, you already have Reno anyway.
Okay.
Like I don't think again, Nicolina's hand is so good that she pretty much can't lose no matter what she does. So, yeah, I mean, it's really just pulls out Leroy Jenkins.
Okay, that's interesting because she can't remove it right now. But gosh, with Ice Block Reno, there's no way. Come on, I can't see it happening. I don't know. I mean, maybe Curse runs something like the Naga Corsair version. I don't know. It's really unlikely right now. Yeah, with Ooze coming, it's pretty tough.
Right. And we saw Nicolina, I mean, she took the AoE, so obviously she can just AoE and then use the Ooze here, and it's basically just game.
Yeah. Let's see, though. What is Curse thinking? Maybe for a Raider, but yeah, okay, he didn't do that, which would have been much worse in this situation. And he goes face. I'm pretty sure the play you said, it's the obvious thing right now.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. Really strong. We might see a concede right here.
Yeah, there's actually no possible way for Curse to even pop this turn either. And of course, Curse doesn't know that Nicolina has Reno in hand, but perhaps if he top decked maybe like another Arcanite Reaper, he might think he has a chance. But I mean, I imagine Nicolina can just show the Reno here and then...
And then the Cursed Misery, there's no reason not to. Come on, just play.
But I guess, well, the thing is, like, you don't actually need to Reno here because you don't need to Reno until they pop your block. But in the spirit of ending the game earlier...
yeah. I mean, this dude is trying, right? Okay, he's not trying anymore. GG, 1-0 for Nicolina. And
game
it's...
One.
Yeah.
And game one's going to go to Nicolina there a pretty favorable matchup. Again, just the Reno Mage is really, really good at dealing with aggro decks. The Ice Block Reno combination is really, really hard for aggro decks to beat. Because yeah, you basically the ice block just make sure you don't die. And of course, they also have a lot of AOE options too. You know, volcanic potion, Kazakus potions. It's really hard for aggro decks to beat them.
And I think she ran the Frost Nova version, right? We saw it in the mulligan, so it's even stronger. I think Frost Nova is a pretty good card. It's like it buys a turn most of the time. So yeah, I mean, it's a really hard matchup. It's not something that Kerst cares about. I'm pretty sure he planned losing on this. So yeah.
Well, actually, no. Well, the thing is, Cursed looks like he brought Jade Druid, right? And Jade Druid is really favored against Reno Mage. So in terms of conquest, you know, like he would have rather have gotten either his Rogue or his Druid queued into the Reno Mage. So I think Nicolina got a huge advantage just by the fact that she queued a good matchup going into the series.
Yeah, okay. I can see what you say, but let's see. So Kerst's hand is pretty good. Nicolina's hand is questionable. It can get really good or it can go badly. What would you mulligan? I think
Nicolina's hand is actually pretty good. I mean, I might have considered keeping the Dread Corsair because you do have a War Axe, so it makes your Dread Corsair a 1-mana 3/3. But I can understand mulliganing away. Farthing Berserker on the coin is always a keep against slower decks. So against Druid, definitely want to be keeping that Farthing Berserker, and she does do it. So yeah, she's off to a really good start here, I think. But the Curse does have the Living Roots on one, which will like kind of slow down the bleeding. If Nicolina goes for the Buccaneer here, Curse can use his hero power plus one of the 1/1s to deal with the Buccaneer.
First hand is interesting. So Aya is not good. Wow. Okay, now Cursed hand got much better because I'm pretty sure he's gonna hero power. Use the Jade Blossom the next turn, and then innervate Aya Living Roots. That's a possibility. I think that Aya is really bad in this in aggro matchups, but if she can come early, she can control the board pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, Nicolina's going to be able to coin out a Frothing Berserker here. And Frothing Berserker is a card that can carry pretty hard against Druid. It represents so much damage if it's not dealt with. And we do see in Curse's hand that he doesn't have anything to deal with it. He doesn't have a swipe. He doesn't have, you know, like Hero Power Wrath, for example. In fact, this turn, I mean, in the interest of contesting this frothing a lot more reliably, Curse may just go for the double innervate Aya here.
And even Living Roots as a 1/1?
And then even Living Roots for the 1/1s, yeah. Because if you play the Jade Blossom, it might be too slow. Right? So,
Okay, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's one of those two. I would probably use Aya and Living Roots in this situation because Frothing Berserker might be huge, but maybe Jade Blossom makes sense. That's a tough turn. That's a tough turn for Curse. Let's see what he decides.
Yeah,
he goes for it.
I can't imagine not going for this. You just have to get on the board here and try to deal with this Frothing Berserker in any way that you possibly can. And yeah, I think he is going to make some 1/1s here. Yep, there it is.
And yeah, we have a game here. I think that depending on what the Curse draws, I mean, for example, if he gets a Nourish or an Azure Drake on turn 5, probably an Azure Drake, or a really good card this turn, maybe a Swipe, I think we might have a game from Druid's side, even though Pirates got an amazing start.
All right, so Nicolina's going to go for the War Axe here. Going to just hit the Aya, because the Aya isn't very strong at the moment, right? The Death Rattle is only going to spawn a 2/2. Now the question is, what does she do with the Berserker here? I imagine it's just going to go face because your opponent's going to trade for you anyway.
Yeah, I think it should go face. I can't see unless she really thinks Cursed has a swipe, but nah, it doesn't matter. You still go face.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Curse picks up an Ancient of Wars. he can ramp with the Jade Blossom this turn, but he still won't be able to play it next turn. But I think if he finds himself a play for next turn after Jade Blossoming, he should be in a really, really good spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely Jade Blossom here. You get a 3/3 out too, and you probably trade on Frothing Berserker. I mean, you're okay. A 3/2 is annoying, but Frothing Berserker is what?
Oh,
he decides
like...
not. Okay, that's interesting.
I think this is okay because if you Jade Blossom now, you'll have 6 mana next turn. So if you the 2 top decks that really affects is going to be a Jade Behemoth. So he has 2 Jade Behemoths, and if he draws them, he would like to play them. But at the same time, not ramping this turn and saving the ramp for next turn, he can still play his War the turn after. So I think this is okay. Just alleviating the pressure from the Buccaneer.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, it makes sense. Maybe Curse doesn't believe in his top decks right here, and it makes sense. Let's see how it goes. But what would you pick here? Who do you think have the edge? Probably Pirate Warrior, right? I mean,
I would like to see Nicolina swing there. She does swing there. And next turn, Nicolina is going to be able to play N'Zoth's First Mate with the Bloodcell Cultist, and then have a 2/4 weapon that can do 8 damage over 4 turns.
Yeah. Kerst will answer with an Ancient of War, so it will get interesting. Let's see.
Yeah, pretty simple turn here. N'Zoth's First Mate, Bloodcell Cultist. Got to send everything to face at this point.
Yeah, it's 6 damage. I mean, Curse is low enough, but it's all about the War. If War can survive somehow, Curse is in a pretty good spot. I think this draw will be really, really important.
Ooh, deckhand.
Gosh.
All right, so Cultist gives Nicolina a 3/3 weapon, right? And then she's going to have 7 on board plus a deckhand, so that's 9. So even if she goes Cultist deckhand, she won't have enough to deal with this War. Maybe she just has to play the Leroy here. She can Leroy deckhand, right? That's 8 plus her weapon, that's 10, and then she gets to push forward through to the face. Yeah, I think that's got to be the play here.
Yeah, it seems like it, and there's no clear answer for Curse right now with this hand. He really needs to top deck something.
Like
either a swipe, yeah, or even a Feral Rage, I guess. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, Fandral Feral Rage would be really, really good at the moment. But unfortunately for Curse, he picks up a Jade Idol, a bit slow right now. It does give him, I believe, like a 4/4 minion. But again, Curse kind of needs some responsive.
You have to actually not
reactive
right?
plays. The thing is, the Fandral allows you to hero power down the 1/1, but I mean, you could trade your. No, it allows you to hero power so you can heal for 1. Although I don't like the fact that he's put the Jades in his deck. I think you play the Jade Idol first before you play the Fandral.
So you don't make your draws worse.
Yeah. You kind of want to draw into Feral Rage or another War or Jade Behemoth at this point. But yeah, you're right. This is going to be game. This is going to be 10 damage coming in from Nicolina. And she is going to take down game number 2 as well. So Nicolina's gotten 2 really good cues for herself here in terms of matchups, right? She didn't have to play Reno Mage versus Jade Druid, and that's a huge, huge deal. And then she was able to take out the Jade Druid with her Pirate Warrior, another favorable matchup for her, putting her in a really, really good situation, a 2-0 lead. So really, really good showing for our first girl to show up on the Wednesday 100.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game. And just thinking about, I think the key point of that game was the last third. I think Curse would agree with us that he should have went Jade Idol first, just to not make his draws worse. Because he really needed the Feral Rage in that situation, like
or the
100%.
Jade Behemoth, or a second War.
Or the second Jade Behemoth. He plays 2 Wars. Yeah, he probably plays 2 Wars. So, but I'm pretty sure I would have gone for the Auctioneer. The thing is that you draw a card that could be an Innervate, which might save you the game, or another Living Roots. No, he played 2. Yeah, he played 2. I mean, probably only Innervate was a really, really good draw at that situation, but I'm pretty sure I would draw. I didn't like the Fandral play, but other than that, it wouldn't have made the difference.
Yeah, I think they both played the game reasonably. Pirate Warrior is just going to come out ahead more often than not. But here we go. Game number 3. Nicolina's up. It's going to be a Rogue Mirror. I mean, Cursed isn't actually. I mean, his Pirate Warrior should pretty much get a free win against Rogue, but then he still has to win the Rogue Mirror, and he still has to win Jade Druid versus Rogue, which are both pretty. Nicolina's got decent, really good chances here. It's interesting that Nicolina runs a Beneath the Grounds in her Rogue deck. That looks like a counter to Reno decks.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, I have seen this version a lot, and it has some pretty good results, right? I mean, I guess around 70% should be. I
mean, it obviously doesn't do anything against aggro. I mean, if you're lucky enough against aggro, sometimes they just draw it right away, and you get a 4/4. But it's really, really slow against aggro. But again, against Reno decks, you basically shut down their Kazakus and their Reno, and it comes down before their Kazakus turn too. Because oftentimes when you're playing Rogue against Reno decks, right, their best way to deal with your Concealed Auctioneer is to Kazakus into a 5-mana AoE potion. But if you play Beneath the Grounds on turn 3, they can't just jam Kazakus on turn 4. They don't get the potion because they have 3, ambushes in their deck. So it's actually a very interesting card. And I do know that Nicolina does practice with Ray C a lot, and Ray C has been running Beneath the Grounds in his Rogue list, so probably got the idea from there.
And also, it should be good in the mirror too, right? I mean, against Rogue, should work.
Not really. It's really slow. It's really slow. It really comes like it's in matchups that aren't against Reno. It's just a huge RNG card as to whether or not they draw, because the ambushes could just be like bottom 10 cards of their deck, and then you don't actually gain any value for the entire game. But you're right, against Rogue, if they go off with Auctioneer, right? Yes. Sometimes you just end up with extra 4/4s on the board. So yeah, I mean, in this matchup, we could probably see some pretty good applications for it as well.
That was my idea. I mean, if they go with Auctioneer, I mean, it's pretty hard for them. I mean, they want to draw, but it could go terribly wrong. And I mean, imagine right now if Cursed just drew the 4/4, that could be game. I mean, that could be so huge, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nicolina's in a really good spot here. She just got complete control of tempo, and she is going to be able to go for the Fana Knives Cold Blood Conceal and get a guaranteed 18 damage. That's typically in the Rogue matchups, you want to just smork as hard as you possibly can. And I mean, Curse is actually just going to conceal his entire board. So basically, there's nothing Nicolina can do except for go for the all-in play, which is, the Fana Knives Cold Blood Conceal. I think something like Pillager Conceal or Pillager Cold Blood is going to be a little bit too slow. But maybe that seems but the thing is, Pillager doesn't get much better, so maybe it's just Pillager actually.
Pillager?
Yeah.
Just Pillager, not Conceal?
Yeah, she should probably Conceal here because she is going to have 11 on board next. Okay, 10 on board with Dagger. That's 11 with Cold Blood if you combo it. That's 15, so she needs 2 more damage. If she runs a deckhand, for example, that would be game. If she draws an Eviscerate, that's game. And she will have 6 mana, so actually, her ordering next turn should probably be Fana Knives. She'll try to find a second Cold Blood or Evis. If she hits that, she wins the game.
I agree.
She basically has 2 draws to 3 outs.
Would you?
And one draw to Leroy, so it's actually decent odds.
Yeah, you're right. Would you ever Leroy prep Fan of Knives in this situation?
Oh, as Cursed?
So Leroy first, then prep Fan of Knives, because that's it for you. You have to go for it. How do you win now?
I think from Cursed position, it's okay to not play Leroy this turn because you do... Daggering up gives you a lot of damage because you have a Buccaneer on board. He can just save the Leroy for next turn with Cold Blood. It's not a huge deal to get it out this turn. So he actually is going to Cold Blood this turn, though. He's going to Cold Blood on the patches, but I think that's kind of interesting. I think it's just going to die to the Fan of Knives, though.
I think it's either this turn. I mean, for both players, they win the next turn, so yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's see.
Ooh, Nicolina finds the second Cold Blood, so that's a 3-0 for Nicolina.
Wow. Okay, that's game. And congratulations to Nicolina. I think she played really well.
Yeah. Didn't really spot any huge mistakes from her over the course of these 3 games. Her Q ordering was ended up being very favorable. She didn't have to deal with Reno Lock versus Jade Druid, and then came down to a Rogue Mirror at the end there. I'm surprised that Cursed. Well, I guess Cursed. I mean, at the end there, like it doesn't really matter what your Q order is because you have to win with all 3 decks anyway. He decided to go for the Rogue Mirror first, and Nicolina was able to kind of outmaneuver him there at the end there and top deck the lethal.
Even though she lost 3 mana on turn 3 with a Beneath the Ground that did nothing in this game, right? But she still won. I mean, yeah, well done to both players.
Yeah, but like I said though, in certain matchups, right, the Beneath the Grounds doesn't actually do that much. But even if it doesn't do that much, you're still rogue, and you still have a lot of good rogue cards, so you can still win anyway, right? The thing is, if you're running the questing list, you usually don't play questing on 3, so you usually just like cycle a Fan on 3. So sometimes just putting up Beneath the Grounds in your opponent's deck is better than cycling the Fan on 3, and yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, it worked out. I think we're gonna go in for a small break right now before the second game. So be ready, guys. Be ready. We are back with Roasty against Deathlord. Let's see.
Lose ourselves in the spirit of things. We lose our sight when we put our trust in things of this material world, of things that fade away. Let me keep coming back, 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 keep coming back. Keep coming back, keep
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday 100 bi-weekly GamerSensei Exhibition Tournament, where we have 4 of the top coaches on our platform duke it out for a winner-take-all $100 prize pool. And Nicolina just had an impressive 3-0 victory over Kirst.
Yeah, amazing games and pretty fast series. I think we are back on the 3-0 tournaments. I mean, come on. The last tournament was so great. Like every game went to 5. Amazing games, like 20 minutes matches. It was insane. Now we are back on 3-0. I mean, I hope we're gonna see a best of 5. I mean, with Deathler and Rusty. Let's see. And we have the bans, and we have something interesting. Did you see?
Right, yeah. So Deathlord is playing Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, Warrior, which is a typical, most popular open tournament lineup these days. Like a lot of people have been winning open tournaments with that lineup. And then Rosti bring in the Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, Warrior as well. So they've actually got the same classes, but Rosti is deciding to ban Warrior, whereas Deathlord is sticking with the more like staple Shaman ban. Yeah, maybe I actually think that banning Warrior is also okay with that lineup, because Rogue actually has an easier time versus Shaman than versus Warrior, and also sometimes like Pirate Warrior has more nut potential than Shaman does. I mean, it's kind of close. I had considered doing it in my own lineups, but still ended up banning Shaman anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing is maybe Rost is playing a control warrior again, and he wants Shaman. But I mean, why you ban Pirate Warrior, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're playing control warrior, you probably aren't banning an aggro deck. So I imagine he's just picking a different ban to throw the game off balance, right? Because if you bring the same lineup and you're both batting Shaman, it's almost a coin flip, basically, right? If you're players playing at an equal caliber, if you bring the same lineup, you're basically almost be coin flipping. And we talked to Death Star a lot previously, and he basically he's like, yeah, I don't like to coin flip, I like to do things differently, right? And so Rosti batting Warrior instead. Even if he is bringing the same lineup, we don't know that he is, but even if he is bringing the exact same archetypes, maybe he throws Deathlore off guard a little bit, and therefore it's no longer a coin flip. Maybe there's things that he can game off the queue order. Although Conquest pick order, if one person randomizes, then it doesn't matter. But if, for example, Deathlore doesn't randomize his Conquest pick order, and Rosti can figure out a pattern, then he can maybe have an advantage there. So there's a couple of things to consider when making like a slightly different ban choice.
Yeah, but I mean, Rosti is bringing Rosti Shaman. Maybe he expected his Shaman to get banned, and he was like, okay, I'm gonna ban Warrior because I'm not gonna play the Shaman versus Warrior matchup, which is pretty good. So that makes sense as well. I mean, if Deathlor knew his Warrior is getting banned, there's no way. He could ban Warrior as well. But I think Rosti maybe read that too. He's like, okay, I have Rogue, Warlock, Warrior. Rogue is better against Shaman. Warrior is... But again, that's my problem. Maybe Warrior is control. Gosh, I don't know.
One thing that I will say is that in previous tournaments that we've had, Rosti's been bringing like different lineups. He's brought control lineups. He's brought aggro lineups. So he's basically brought a variety of lineups, whereas Deathlore has basically been sticking to the same lineup for every tournament thus far. And so Deathlore is a bit more predictable in terms of they did know that they were going to play each other before they sent the deck list. And so Deathlore's lineup is definitely a little bit more predictable, whereas Rosti's isn't. So Rosti could have used that information to his advantage.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think the players are getting ready. And yeah, I really want to see that Warrior deck from Rosti, because I have no idea. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, like we I mean, previously, yeah, he's brought Control Warrior, but I mean, again, it could be a pirate this time around. It could be a pirate dragon this time around, right? So actually, that can make some sense too, because if Rosti's Warrior deck is a dragon pirate warrior versus just strictly pirates, dragon pirate warrior is a lot better against Shaman. and a lot worse against some other classes. So he brings Dragon Pirate Warrior instead, and then chooses not to ban Shaman. So that could also be a choice that Rosti made there.
You're right. That actually makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think Rosti, I mean, last time he came with a Finja control paladin, so we can't predict yet. Yeah, we
exactly.
we can't predict his deck. But if that ban throws us off that much, imagine what it happens in Deathlord's head, right? Like, what the hell? And oh my god, we were wrong. It's a classic pirate.
Oh, okay. Well then, all right. This is going to be game one between Rosti and Deathlord, and it is going to be Warrior versus Shaman. So Deathlord should have an advantage here, but Rosti has a turn one N'Zoth's First Mate. N'Zoth's First Mate is really, really good, but Deathlord has an amazing hand himself as well. You can go coin double Trog here, or probably coin double Trog and a Golem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's coin double Trog here. And gosh, his whole game is going to be really easy. Like Totem Golem, probably Hero Power Reverse Finlay, then the 7 and probably GG. I mean, that's... Yeah, let's see if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Shaman is ahead, especially because of this hand.
Yeah, definitely. And Rosti picks up a War Axe here. He didn't swing with his N'Zoth's First Mate last turn because he's probably thinking about wanting to upgrade it. But now that he draws the War Axe, he's going to equip it over his N'Zoth's First Mate. He's going to probably use the upgrade on the War Axe instead.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, he lost 1 damage. It might not make any difference with in this situation. But would you have attacked there?
It's hard to say. Again, you got the upgrade in your hand, and an upgraded N'Zoth's First Mate is really good against Shaman, right? It's really good at clearing totems. If they roll Taunt Totem, it's perfectly efficient. So, I think it's reasonable that that Rosti didn't swing. He picks up Steady Shot, which is one of the better hero powers here. And now he's going to upgrade his War Axe, use his War Axe to clear the Totem Golem, and then. Let's see. I would imagine that he just trades his deckhand into the Trog here because that's pretty high priority removal. And if Deathlord has a weak turn here, it doesn't seem like he will, but if Deathlord had a weak turn here, for example, Rosti would still be in an okay situation. But it looks like Deathlord is going to just play his Buccaneer and Clop.
Yeah, right now it feels like Deathlord is ahead. I'm guessing... Is there any perfect? No, that's not a good draw. I mean, you just go all in right now, right? And,
Rosti basically doesn't have any minion development, so he's relying on basically just the burst from his hand to win the game. I think trading there is okay because it buys him a lot of time. But when you have Hunter Hero Power, buying time is like somewhat relevant because the longer you stay alive. Every turn you stay alive, basically, you get in an extra 2 damage. So, I mean, it made some sense there. So he uses his War Axe, right, to kill that. So the War Axe is 4 damage. So if the War Axe swinging into the Buccaneer helps him survive for 2 more turns, then he makes it up for it with the 2 hero powers, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was really early, so maybe it was the right call. Even though in Deathlord's situation, I would probably pick up Priest's hero power. Or even no armor.
All right, so Deathlord's going to take a safer route and just use his 7/7 to trade. Rosti picks up Naga Corsair. He doesn't have a weapon equipped, so unfortunately isn't going to be able to get any value from it, but it is going to be a 5/4, and it may cause Deathlord to have to trade into it, right? Like, he's going to be definitely afraid of, getting hit in the face for 5, so interesting decision to whether he trades with the 7/4 or the 3/4 and the 1/3. Probably the 3/4 and the 1/3.
I think that's it because you have lethal the next turn with this guy. So I think that's pretty much game.
Yeah, so there's nothing Rosti can do here to stop the lethal, and Deathlord is going to take game number 1 on a favorite matchup.
I mean, he had the perfect hand. The matchup is favorable. I don't think there's anything Rosti could have done in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunate draw for Rosti there, but yeah, we are going to go into game 2. So the bans.
The ban.
I don't know if we can really extrapolate anything from that yet. We have to see how a few more games go, but maybe we'll see that later. Rossi maybe might regret banning the warrior instead of shaman.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially if you bring a pirate warrior, shaman is not something you really want to face, right? But let's see. So rogue against warlock, a really favorable matchup for rogue.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't want to say it's free, but it's pretty close to like 70%. Rossi is going to keep the sap with the pillager, which is definitely correct. Mulligan there by him. Yeah, pillager, Drake, auctioneer, really, really solid curve.
Yeah, and I think as the time passes, if we come back at the day one that those two decks were starting to become tier 1, I'm pretty sure it was like 60%. But as the time goes on, Rogue becomes even stronger in my mind. It feels like Rogue starting to realize his potential in this matchup. And you said it feels like a free win most of the times.
I mean, it's not necessarily free because Reno Lock's still Reno Lock. They still have Kazakis and they still have Reno. So, I mean, but Reno is basically forced to draw really, really well in order to win. Whereas Rogue, if they hit a Buccaneer, if they hit a Pillager, they're already like in a very, very good spot.
Yeah, and I think Rossi is in a good spot here as well. I mean, Deathlord's hand is pretty good too. So it's an interesting game. Yeah, both players have pretty good hands.
Yeah, this could be one of those games where Deathlord can actually eke it out because he does have the Kazakis, right? He also has a Twilight Drake. Twilight Drake's one of the better cards in this matchup because as a four attack body, it's really good at contesting Drakes and Pillagers. And yeah, we might see that. I mean, Deathlord gets good value from his Drake and then gets a really good Kazakis potion and is able to deal with the auctioneers and stuff. But we'll have to see. I mean, so the thing is, Rossi didn't hit his Buccaneer on 1, which is actually huge for the Warlock. If the Warlock sees a Buccaneer on 1, they usually like cry. But Rossi didn't hit his Buccaneer on 1. The Pillager here is going to be pretty good, but again, it's a little bit slower than he would like. I imagine something like sap the Drake, trade hero power is okay. Although, I mean, actually, he doesn't even need to trade, though. He can just go face for 5. But I do think that sapping the Twilight Drake is very reasonable here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, huge tempo swing, but yeah, are you trading here? Probably, right?
It's not a terrible trade. The thing is, you have 2 auctioneers in your hand, so you can play it for late game. I think given Rosti's hand, trading here makes a lot of sense. I think if he had a little bit more of an all-in hand, then he shouldn't trade. Like if his hand was like Cold Bloods and Leroy, he should probably go face. But he has a lot of sustain again with double auctioneer and a Drake. So playing for the long game makes a lot of sense too.
I agree. Another Drake. Ooh, Genjo.
Ooh,
nice.
I like this. So my buddy Casey and the WP, they play on the EU server. They're the ones who started putting Genzo in Miracle Rogue, and it's actually pretty interesting. I haven't tried it myself because I don't actually have Genzo, but the Genzo South Sea build is really, really good against both aggro and control. Like basically a lot of times, even against control, if you don't draw your gadget, you're in a really bad spot. Sometimes you have and then you have like an empty hand because you had to go all in, they deal with it, and then all of a sudden you draw a gadget, but you don't have any spells, right? Genzo kind of fixes that issue where you can kind of just, if you're low on resources and you play Genzo, you draw cards, and all of a sudden you're like in a really, really good spot.
Plus, you might make your opponent overdraw.
No. Your opponent won't draw unless they have under 3 cards, right? So.
Okay. No.
My brain.
I have actually never played this card. You haven't crafted it yet, right? Yeah, I haven't seen it too. I haven't seen it. That's weird. I mean, where it's been played in Europe? That's weird.
Like the thing about Genzo is that the current rogue playstyle is Rogue wants to go all in early a lot of the time with their questings and their Edwins. So sometimes if they're dealt with, if your opponent somehow deals with your questing and your Edwin, then you basically don't have any prospects, right? So you draw Genzo, and your problem is solved. And that's one of the reasons why the card is actually seeing reasonable success.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you analyze it, it makes a lot of sense. And right here, I mean, Deathlord's hand is pretty good. And he's thinking about using the Kazakus potion, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure what he got. Okay, Dirt Threat and... Oh, that's interesting.
Ooh. Okay, it's deal 5, draw 2. Not a bad potion in this spot, actually. He is able to take down one of the auctioneers, but unfortunately for Deathlord, Rossi's got that second auctioneer, and so, again, he's still going to be able to... whoa. He's not going to use his auctioneer here. He's actually just going to go all in on Edwin, it seems, and this is a play that doesn't respect Twisting Nether.
Wow, you're right.
Oh, no. But no, he's doing this because Genzo, right? Genzo is going to draw 2 cards here. Oh, no. Actually, I like this a lot. So I was thinking about just mindlessly just playing the auctioneer in the sap, but this makes a lot of sense too, because this gives you Genzo value.
Wow. Okay.
And well, not only does it get Genzo value, but also Deathlord is going to lose a card here because his hand is full. He loses Siphon Soul, which is actually pretty relevant because he can't deal with the he can't deal with the Edwin anymore. He doesn't have another in his hand.
Wow. And oh gosh, I mean, Deathlord is in a really bad spot right here. Is there any way? Like Bruiser, Ventor? Or do you just Mortal Coil and hope for something? But what do you hope for?
I mean, on 9 mana, you could try to coil for the...
Yeah, for Nether.
But, I mean, this is definitely looking a little bit hopeless here. And as we talked about before, it's no fault of Deathlord. This matchup is just heavily favored for Rogue.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even with... I'm not sure about Genjo, how much he changes this matchup. What's your opinion? It does it better? It's better for Rogue?
I think if you can get value on Genzo, and I mean, in any matchup, if you can get value from it, it's good. And in this game, he did get value from it, so it's good, right? He got 2 draws from Genzo, and was able to go all in on the Edwin. So, yeah, I mean, I really like that play, and it turns out Genzo is pretty good. I mean, obviously, Casey and Yuna WP, some of the better Rogue players on the EU server, if they think it's good, it's definitely, something to consider.
I agree. That was a nice addition by Rosti. He always brings up those decks. Yeah. I mean, it's boring always to watch the same decks all over again, right? I mean, when you see just a small different card, it totally brightens up the series. So let's see, it's 1-1. And I guess we expected the Shaman to win the Pirate. We expected the Rogue to win the Reno Lock. Let's go on. Pirate against Reno Lock.
Yeah. So this matchup is just Pirate Warrior draws pretty consistently usually. It just really comes down to whether the Reno Lock has decent early game and then go into Reno. Looks like Deathlord is going to have a Reno, so he's already in a good spot. And he has a Coil as well, which means he's going to be able to deal with whatever Rossi does on turn 1. So yeah, given these hands, I mean, Deathlord is definitely in a favorable position already.
Wow, yeah, it feels like it. And if Rosti doesn't draw something for turn 2, that should be game again. That's the problem with Pirate, I guess. Wow, and another good draw from Deathlord. This hand can't get better. Yeah,
exactly. This hand literally cannot get any better. Although on the Mistress draw, I mean, you still coil here. You don't want to play the Mistress because you're at 29. They'll deal with it, and you only get 1 heal. You typically want to play the Mistress on like turn 3 with a tap because it gets a little bit more value. but actually he may decide to play it here. And I think I would just tap. You have the Reno, so tapping for the resource here is like probably fine.
And next turn you can probably either Shadow Bolt, like most likely, but you could also Mistress tap again. But yeah, I would probably tap here too.
It's actually kind of close. I would in Deathlore shoes, I would definitely think about it here, because at the same time, if you do tap here, if you tap and then tap Mistress, it's a little bit slow, and you honestly are at risk of dying before you even get to Reno. So it's it can be a little bit risky, but yeah, I think it's worth thinking about. You have to kind of calculate how dangerous it actually is. He's gonna calculate that it's gonna be a little bit too dangerous, right? He already has Reno in his hand. He has Refresh and Bender. He has so many good cards in his hand. But now, oh man, Rosti picks up the Frothing Berserker, and that's one of the stronger cards in this matchup. It allows the Pirate Warrior to kind of carries the matchup, but Deathlord does have the Shadow Bolt, so crazy.
It's like all this hype for nothing. Deathlord has a Shadow Bolt. Yeah, GG. I mean, yeah, definitely one of the best cards in this matchup. If Locke doesn't have an answer, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that Pirate pressures, but not enough.
Well, actually, Rosti actually has a really strong follow-up, though. And even though Deathlore has Reno, this is actually a hand that can beat Reno, because this is a minion-centric hand. And this South Sea Captain... It's actually an interesting turn here.
I mean... Yeah, okay, I agree with that move too. What were you thinking? Something else? Maybe Keltist and Corsair?
No, I think this was okay, because you actually want to play your South Sea in situations where you're putting your cards out of Hellfire range. In this case, actually, he would lose 3 of his minions to Hellfire, but the Dread Corsair would stay alive. So I think this is okay. Fortunately for Rosti, Deathlord actually doesn't have any reliable AoE here. He's got the Shadow Flame, but he's got nothing to use the Shadow Flame on. Maybe the Sun Fury, but it actually doesn't. It only clears 1 minion, so it's not good. But yeah, like this is a hand that can beat Reno, because minion pressure represents repetitive damage, right? Reno for heal, it's really good at beating burst or when you've already stabilized, but when you haven't stabilized and your opponent has repetitive minion damage, it doesn't actually work as well.
I agree. You're right. It's one of those hands that can give you a win, even if the opponent Reno. I mean, I guess... Okay, Deathlord is thinking about coining out a Reno.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand this. He actually thinks that the 4/6 body is relevant here, right? But as we know, like this, oh man,
wow,
that healing for 8 is a little bit too sad.
And when you coin out the Reno, doesn't you tell your opponent you have a Shadow Flame?
It might, yeah. But I mean, Rosti knows that he needs to be clearing the Reno like every time there.
Yeah,
so
every time.
He's gonna just clear the Reno, and now Deathlord already used his Reno, is at 19 and is staring down like actually 18 damage, right? So that's on board. That's 18 damage, and then the Korkron in hand is, I mean, actually there's no way for Deathlord to win this.
Do you think that was a really early Reno?
I mean, if he didn't have any good turns though, like what were his other turns? His other turns didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, he could have like I guess he could have Demon Wrath Sunfeared or something.
No, he picked up Demon Wrath now.
Oh right, he's drawing from right, because it's the graphics.
No, you can't brand Sun Fury just to delay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's Honestly, though, if he was gonna do that, it was probably a little bit better than playing the brand Sun Fury the turn before.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it was turn 5. He shouldn't. I think he couldn't have coin. I mean, yeah, he plays that now. Maybe he should have played that the turn before, I guess. But yeah, it happens.
Do you see in not Corsair tech choice as well? Not going to be useful this turn yet. He's just going to wait. This is actually still lethal with through the taunted brand.
Yeah, I mean, interesting game for sure. That Naga addition, I have seen it a lot lately. What's your opinion on it? Do you run it on your Pirate Warrior?
I personally don't like it too much. I think it's a little bit too slow. I think Pirate Warrior
should go face.
Well, it can't really afford playing a 5-mana card that doesn't have charge, right? Like, as a 5-mana card, buffing your weapon by 1 attack is, again, it's a little bit too slow, and a lot of decks can have an answer to a 5-mana 5/4. But I have seen it work to some degree of success. So it's not a bad card. It's just not one that I personally like. But I mean, yeah, I think it's probably okay.
It's much worse than Corruptor,
Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah, I mean that's why I don't like it. Because
the thing, you bring up a good point, because if you're gonna play, 5-mana minions, right? You might as well be playing Dragon Warrior or Dragon Pirate Warrior. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Exactly that's my problem with this card. But yeah, I have seen it a lot lately.
So Rossi's gonna take a 2-1 lead, and his last deck that he needs to win with is a Reno Lock. And Deathlord is going to go ahead and cue the favorable matchup first. He's going to play the Rogue versus Reno Lock before the Reno Lock mirror. So wants to tie up the series as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Rosty's ban. So even after he played really good, he still have to win this game, which is unlikely, and then go to face a 50-50. Because in my mind, he simply gave Deathlord a free win with a Shaman versus Pirate matchup. I mean, not a free win, but yeah, you get the point. It's a bit questionable. Oh, let's see. Do you just Doomsayer here?
Yeah, I think you just Doomsayer here. Although, so there's a consideration to Doomsayering next turn, actually, because you'd rather Doomsayer to deny the Pillager turn, because Rogue actually usually doesn't develop anything on turn 3. So level 1 thinking is like, it's turn 2, let's play Doomsayer. But I think on a higher level, you actually want to, you want the Doomsayer to deny the Pillager turn. Yeah. So I like Rosty's line here. Now he's going to play the Doomsayer. And the problem with this is that it gives the Rogue more time to draw answers, like, the Backstab, Cold Blood, I guess. Or
even Eviscerate, I guess, too.
Yeah. But I think it's still better. It's still better to play the Doomsayer into the Rogue's turn 4.
Let's see. And now Deathlord is thinking about playing Chemist. I think I would.
Really?
Let's think about it. I mean, okay. Oh, maybe you can use it the next turn too, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to play it now. I mean, you're gonna just let it die most of the time. I would probably just go face and redagger.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I was thinking that this card is not useful unless it picks up something, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's see. So Deathlord decides to keep it.
And Rosty's actually in a really good spot here. He didn't have to deal with... He took some damage, right? But it wasn't like Buccaneer damage. And now he's going to be able to be on the board with the Drake. Deathlord picks up a really, really good top deck, though. He gets a Sap, which is one of the more important cards in the spot, right? And now Deathlord can pretty much just questing Sap. And interesting decision here whether he decides to use... I don't think he's going to want to Coin Conceal because he has an Auctioneer, and Coin Concealing that is actually much better.
Yeah, and he's lucky. I mean, Rosty doesn't have a Shadow Bolt.
So Rosty's going to take... he already saw a Sap, right? So definitely coining out the Sylve here should be the play here. I mean, you're not too sad if the questing, trades for it. And... yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, this is a little bit better than redeveloping the Drake, for sure.
and it might happen. Maybe Deathlord trades with this hand.
I could definitely see it. I mean, he can just basically just backstab trade, then the auctioneer coin conceal.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. Let's see. Yeah, it should be that. So yeah, Deathlord decides to trade and get out his auctioneer, play conceal. It makes sense. Plus, he can draw like half of his deck the next turn, so he's in a good spot. But the thing is that Rost is in a pretty good spot too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
well, not into this concealed auctioneer again. Rogue, even though Rosti had a reasonable way to deal with the Rogue's early game, still, like, what do you do against a concealed auctioneer? You really can't. If you didn't pull off a Kazakus 4 damage AoE potion, you really can't. So Rosti's going to go ahead and play Mistress plus Bruiser, which is definitely reasonable.
Okay, two things. First, I think Rhinolock is okay in a way because Rogue has used one sap. You have Rhino. Maybe you could delay the game enough, maybe. But okay, he decides to play his taunt right now. I mean, let's see. I'm not sure. I would probably Twilight Drake in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And give. Well, I mean, I don't know. I would probably Twilight Drake and keep my taunt.
The taunt is a more reliable way to not die, because if you play the Drake, you might just get double cold-blooded and a Vis to the face, right? It's a bit of a safer play. I mean, I think either way Rosti plays it, he's probably still going to lose because, again, Warlock just can't beat a Concealed Auctioneer most of the time. Deathlord is simply going to just go with the Questing Cold-Blood Edwin, probably. Use his weapon to clear the 4-1. He can even go for the counterfeit coin Buccaneer Edwin now too. So now that Edwin's going to get even bigger, Rosti already uses coin, so he can't coin Nether, even if he had it. So this is pretty much just game for Deathlord, and we're seeing it again. Just Rogue completely dominating Rhinolock, and it's pretty much why Rogue is a staple in the tournament meta now.
Brand Derturat, honorable. Yeah, I mean, I think just for the memes. Yeah, there's no way this move makes any sense right now. Oh, patches. Yeah, definitely.
He's going to go ahead and concede. And now, as you wished, this is going to go to a game number 5.
Rhinolock against Rhinolock. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the more you see this matchup, I think in every tournament we haven't seen a Rhinolock actually beat a Rogue.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I played Deathlord in the Energy qualifier, I ended up winning Rhinolock versus Rogue, but I had like the best hand ever. You pretty much need the best hand ever as Rhinolock to beat Rogue. If you have the best hand ever, sometimes you can win. But yeah, the Rhino is forced to draw the best hand ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think I remember the game, and you had like Doomsayer, and then I remember Kazakus, and early Kazakus, if I recall. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was a really good hand. I don't
remember how the game went, but I do remember Renoing on turn 6 for like 20-something health. That was amazing. But yeah, we are going to go into our last game here, game number 5, Rhinolock Mir, and this matchup is pretty skill intensive in my opinion. Going first is actually really important. So Rossi going first is already at a huge advantage, but also, of course, draws matter too. So if you go first and you're the first one on board with a Drake or a Giant, you're usually going to win. Looks like Rossi is going to tap into his Mountain Giant, and Deathlord still hasn't found Drake or Giant yet. So definitely looking Rossi's way at this point.
Okay, I think I might disagree with something you said, that this matchup is a lot... I mean, I think going first is so huge right now. I don't know. It feels like it's 60-40 for the guy that goes first. It feels a bit unfair.
I mean, going first definitely has the advantage, but if both players are able to kind of equalize and it gets to later in the game, it does. The grindier games typically are more skill intensive. It looks like Deathlord is actually going to trade his coin for a tap, which is interesting. I typically don't make that play, but Deathlord's hand is so bad that he might have had to make that play. The thing is, if you trade your coin for a tap, your opponent never has to play around the coin, right? So they never have to play around coin Sylve, they never have to play around coin Nether, they don't have to play around Sylve coin Shadow Flame, they don't have to play around Corn Thorson. So trading off your coin for a tap is generally not correct, but again, Deathlord's hand was looking pretty bad there. Actually, I don't know. Actually, on second thought, in Deathlord's position, I probably would have just played Ooze without tapping, and then played Vendor and saved the coin.
And also, you might have to coin Siphon Soul, this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe as well, right? I mean,
yeah.
Mountain Giant is getting huge. I mean, so much value on it. Oh, Dirty Rat.
Yeah, Dirty Rat Farseer, I think, is definitely going to be the play here. He pulls off the Faceless.
I think Rusty might consider even Shadow Ball here, but Farseer on the it's much better. I mean, it gets it out of reach of Hellfire, of Demon Wrath.
Yeah, but as we said, Rusty being first on the board with the Mountain Giant, definitely in a huge advantage. I think Deathlord, if he had saved his coin, he'd be in a much better situation. Again, the coin is actually so important in this matchup because, again, the person going first has such a huge advantage that you basically need the coin as a stabilization mechanic, right? Like coin Nether is so huge a lot of the time, but Deathlord kind of threw that option away. He also threw away the option to coin Siphon, so now he's in a position where it's impossible for him to deal with the giant.
So yeah, I agree. I mean, that coin was a bit questionable, and maybe Deathlord is thinking about that right now. And I mean, what can he do? I guess that's the best move. Yeah, just Hellfire this board and try to survive, right? I mean,
yeah. Back to Rusty. He is going to get in a tap, and he probably could have considered just playing like Peddler Argus, right? But he is going to go ahead and get that extra tap in. He's going to try to figure out if he wants the Peddler or Argus. He's going to just go for the Argus here.
I mean, do you like this play? I mean, after you see the Hellfire, it makes sense, though, right? It gets your minion out of Demon Wrath. I mean,
I think personally, I would have, if I was going to play the Argus, I would have played the Peddler as well. But I think getting in the tap in is kind of reasonable too.
Okay. They just informed me that Mana Corsair is 4 mana. I mean, it's so terrible. I just thought it's 5 mana, but it's 4. Okay, you're right.
Oh, Naga Corsair.
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, guys. So let's see. He tapped. Oh, that's a good draw. That's something that. Oh, he decides to just do say. Wait a moment. So he drew Twilight Drake, if I can see correctly. And he's thinking about either Twilight Drake or Doomsayer. Do you just... I don't think you Doomsayer here, right? What do you think? Does it make sense? I mean... it heals you for 7, that's it. But there's no way your opponent doesn't deal with it.
I think you definitely go for the Twilight Drake here. And hope your opponent can't contest it. Because if it does stick around, you are going to be able to Shambler it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just that Deathlord dragged the Doomsayer quickly. He took it back. Maybe he's reconsidering about Twilight Drake. Oh,
no, but at the same time, if you play the Twilight Drake, you're actually dead to a combination of stuff. So, well, actually, if you play Doomsayer, you're actually dead to the same combination of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't change.
Both plays make you dead, but the Doomsayer does buy you a little bit more time, perhaps.
I don't know. I mean, you're at 14, and it's even harder to play Twilight Break.
Yeah.
Maybe he's thinking about Twisting Nether, but does it help? I mean, I don't know. It just feels like Deathlord is in a really bad position right now.
This is definitely another turn, because basically anything else you do, you're dead to a lot of combination of cards. So you can basically Nether here and then just tap Reno the turn after. You're back to 30. It does pass the initiative back to Rusty. Actually, no. I guess Nether isn't the only option. Like I said, Drake Shambler is also probably okay there too.
Yeah. Okay, I get the point now. It makes sense. I mean, you could do it the turn before, but yeah, it makes sense now. Let's see.
Wait,
So
Rosti is
flame it.
actually fishing for lethal there. If he found a PO or a Soulfire, he'd have lethal, but doesn't find it. He's simply going to siphon and go all face. And Deathlord going to be forced to Reno here.
Yeah, he can't do anything else. There's no way you're risking with his Twisting Nether here, so you just Reno. So yeah, let's. Gosh, that draw. I mean, Rosti doesn't respect the Nether.
Interesting.
Oh, I think that might be a small misplay.
Right. I mean, he could have gotten a tap in there, but at the same time, if he gets nethered, it's actually not that bad, right? Because if he gets
Jarax.
nethered here, he can just Jaraxxus and make a 6/6, and then just win the game off the Jaraxxus. In fact, no, he can do even something crazy. He can Flame Imp Jaraxxus, and then Hero Power. So, and then the thing is, he doesn't actually have to be afraid of dying because Deathlord hasn't. Well, he first pulled off the Faceless as well, but also Deathlord hasn't used Emperor yet, so he just doesn't have to be afraid of dying.
Okay, we forgot about that. That was a good play by Deathlord. Sylvanas Shadowflame. Nice, and now Deathlord is he has some good board, and let's see what Rosti decide. Kazakus definitely.
Ooh, he goes for a 10. Wow, this is a really, really bad Kazakus potion. He basically didn't have any good options.
I didn't see the second one. He picked 10 Arbor Ant, or what did he pick? Can we see the Kazakus? Okay, no, I mean the ship is okay, right?
No, I mean the ship is okay, but it's definitely one of the weaker ones. It's definitely not as strong as, summon 3 or get an 8/8 demon or AoE, or AoE is definitely a little bit more reliable, so is just deal 8 damage. Yeah, so definitely kind of low rolling there on the Kazakus potion. And Deathlord is going to go ahead and play out his Dirty Rat, going to pull out the Ooze, probably the least impactful result there.
He probably would have wished for a Jaraxxus, and right now, Deathlord find a way to fight back. I mean, he it seems like he has chances right now, even though with Summoner out. Oh, he got a second PO, so he has 14 damage. Wow.
Yeah, now Deathlord is in a position
of
representing lethal, and good job by him actually turning it around the way he did.
And that potion now is pretty good. That potion now is
I probably still wouldn't use the potion here. I think you got to go for the Leroy Shadowflame.
Okay, it makes sense.
Because the potion actually loses you a lot of tempo, whereas the Leroy Shadowflame keeps a 3/2, keeps 2 3/2s on the board, which is really relevant. And also the fact that the Flame Imp doesn't die to Demon Wrath is also huge. So I kind of like the thing is I do like the Leroy Shadowflame, but it also strips you of your combo pieces as well. So it's actually really tough to say.
Oh, he tapped. So Hellfire?
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna Hellfire here. He's gonna leave up the Drake. He's going to play the Doomsayer, but actually this play is going to lose him the game.
Oh my god. Gosh, that's lethal. Amazing come around from Deathlord, man. I have to give it for him. I didn't expect it. No way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, he basically hung by the skin of his teeth all throughout the mid-game, was able to pick up that Reno top deck, so he was able to go for basically a heal to full, then the Sylvanas Shadowflame to kind of just swing the board back. And Sylvanas Shadowflame is one of those really, really powerful combinations in the Reno Lock Mirror that allows for you to come back like that. I mean, he basically had all the comeback cards. So he kind of bought his time. And I think Rosti may have made a misstep or two in the mid game, which allowed Deathlord to kind of get his foot back in.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I was saying Rosti's face in the end. He was like, what? Double PO? Isn't that a Reno deck? But I mean, that's Peddler pickup, right?
Yeah.
That was a good pickup. I mean, second PO can make a huge difference because your opponent sometimes can't count it. He's like, okay, Leroy, PO, Drake, that's 14. But then 2 extra, right? Sometimes it's huge. And yeah, we have our final.
Yeah, we have our final. It is going to be Nicolina, the first girl to appear on the Wednesday 100, versus Deathlore, someone who's been back week after week but has yet to manage to win. So it's definitely going to be an amazing match. And we actually haven't seen these two compete against each other before. But before we go into a break, we would like to shout out our Sensei TV. So throughout this week and possibly next week as well, each night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, we are having coaches broadcast lessons on the GamerSensei TV, the GamerSensei app Twitch channel. So definitely check those out. Also, the VODs of those and also the Wednesday 100s will be uploaded to YouTube. So go and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We'll be right back for the finals. Don't go anywhere. Hello, Hearthstone fans, and welcome back to the Wednesday 100, the bi-weekly GamerSensei exhibition tournament, where 4 of the top sensei on our platform are going to be duking it out for a $100 winner-take-all prize pool. We do have our 2 finalists for tonight. It is going to be Nicolina versus Deathlore.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this game. I just chatted with Deathlore. He's ready. He's ready for this game. He's bringing it home. He's giving Greece the first win in Wednesday 100. We're gonna do it, guys. We're gonna do it, guys.
It has been dominated by Americans so far, but yeah, it is going to be. Well, actually, it is still going to be USA versus Greece once again,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so I guess I'll have to be rooting for Nicolina then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let's see how it goes, but I think both of them have the same decks. I mean, Nicolina brought.
Nicolina brought a Reno Mage, so a little bit slightly different lineup. And so they are actually going to both ban Shaman, so they're sticking to the same strategy that they had in the prior round, both of them banning Shaman. And if I'm actually going to hope that we do get to see Beneath the Grounds get in some action this series.
Yeah, and let's get back to the series before. Rosti didn't ban Shaman, and he had to play the Pirate against Shaman, and he lost 3-2. Maybe it cost him after all, right?
I mean, I thought it was okay. Again, I talked about the theory behind it. I thought it was okay. I don't think it's too big of a difference between banning Warrior and banning Shaman in that lineup. Again, that's the only matchup where you leave yourself open to, which is weak. But at the same time, he was able to take it to a 2-2. It came down to Arena Lock Mirror, and I think Deathlord had a lot of good stabilization tools, and was able to stop Rosti's early pressure and was able to basically win with combo, or not combo, but Leroy double PO. And I mean, it was a really tight game. Yeah, Deathlord did come out ahead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think the players are starting soon. Yeah, they both ban Shaman. Makes sense. And let's see how Nicolina will perform. I mean, Deathlord has been in finals, I think, 2 times. Or once, if I recall. I don't remember correctly.
Yeah, but he hasn't been able to take the crown.
Yeah, he hasn't been able, but yeah. I just pumped him up in chat. I was like, bring it home, man. Bring it home. Take it. And I think he will perform. He's performing. I mean, the last game, gosh, I couldn't expect it to win. I mean, Deathlord is amazing on Renolog. When my student faced him in a tournament here in Greece, I was like, ban his Renolog. He's amazing in Renolog. And he performed. In my opinion, there are few players that could turn this game around, and Deathlord is one of them. So, yeah, congratulations to him. Let's see if he will perform in this series.
Yeah, or will we have our first-time girl as the winner? I actually would rather see a first-time girl as a winner. Also, the fact that she's representing.
No.
She's also representing. She's also representing USA. I mean, multiple biases here at work here. Yeah.
Great. We are the most non-biased casters ever. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm okay with both coaches. They're really great guys. You should definitely check their profiles, guys. And another thing about Sensei TV. Actually, on YouTube, it's GamerSensei, not app, GamerSensei alone. You can check out the channel here. And actually, Astro had a lesson yesterday, so you can check him coaching in action. So I think it's a great thing to see how a coaching session goes. And yeah, I mean, praise yourself, man. You had a coaching yesterday. You should advertise yourself.
All right, so are we ready to go into the game?
I hope so. What's happening, guys? Okay, I think they're starting soon. Let's go. There it is.
Ooh, and talk about Nicolina's pick order in the first series where she won 3-0. She's going to queue immediately a favored matchup right away once again. It's going to be Pirate Warrior versus Rogue.
Yeah, and Deathlord mulliganed his whole hand, I think. Almost. Okay. And Nicolina has a good opening, I guess. She has deckhand, Sir Finlay. I mean, it's okay. It's not the best, but it should work. Against this matchup, as a pirate, what's your dream opening?
Dream opening is to have Buccaneer always. Probably Buccaneer into War Axe or Buccaneer. But the War Axe actually on turn 2 doesn't actually do that much against the Rogue, so you actually would rather have proactive follow-up. So I think the best start is usually like Buccaneer into Nizlas first mate Buccaneer, something like that.
Okay. Or maybe Buccaneer upgrade to something? Good.
It looks like she is going to keep the Finley, which is definitely correct in this matchup. And yeah, probably going to play it out
she
turn
drew
1.
patches.
Very unlucky.
Gosh.
I mean, yeah, if Rogue's going to actually win any game against Pirate Warrior, the Pirate Warrior's got to draw patches, and the Rogue's got to have Coin Edwin. He can actually Coin prep something Edwin. If Deathmore makes a 10-10 Edwin on turn 1, I think this is going to be a quick win for him.
What the? Oh my god, there it is. There it is. And it's Eviscerate, which is pretty good. Do you just go for it?
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
Pirate Warrior can't deal with a 10-10 Edwin. You go for a 10-10 Edwin. I mean, you strand your Auctioneer. Like, your Auctioneer's not going to do anything for a couple turns, but I think you do it. Actually, there's another consideration, too. The consideration is that you Evis the face instead of the Finley.
Oh.
And I actually think Evising the face is a little bit better. Yeah, looks
I would
like...
go for Finley.
No, I would no. Face is definitely the place. Let's go
come on,
down
Finley,
for it. Evis
Finley,
the face.
Finley.
No, he's gonna Evis the face. I promise you.
There you go.
Right.
I would Evis the Finlay, but yeah, I mean both plays have their pros and cons, and that game, GG, 1-0. That's how easy it is sometimes.
I mean,
right?
with the 10-10 Edwin, like, it doesn't matter if you Evis face or Finley, but I don't think the Finley actually does anything. So I think face is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's maybe Deathlord thinks like 1 extra damage for Finlay might make a difference. Maybe with double heroic strike. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
he's gonna outrace. He's gonna outrace anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine Deathlord is just gonna dagger here. It doesn't make sense to play the Buccaneer because the Buccaneer gets value traded on. Although, do you even care if the Buccaneer gets value traded on? I still think dagger is better because with a dagger you end up pushing 2 extra damage this turn and next turn. Because next turn you just go like Buccaneer redagger, and
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a play. Dagger up, 11 damage, and I don't know, it feels like game, right? I think early in the season, Pirate Warriors tech and execute for stuff like that, and the 7-7. You remember that era where Pirate Warriors run and execute? I mean, mostly Dragon Warriors. Okay, I'm mistaken. Mostly
I feel like ever since Execute got nerfed to 2 mana, it's a lot harder to fit into more aggressive decks because 1 mana Execute was basically so flexible, so much tempo in pretty much almost all cases, right? But when you
okay, I didn't expect that.
I guess if you're gonna play the Buccaneer, you should trade to avoid the value trade. Personally, I like to outrace, but honestly, again, with a 10-10 Edwin on turn 1, there's like you're never losing no matter what you do. So basically, it's kind of like we're watching a movie now.
A horror movie?
Yeah, horror movie. Yeah. Go with horror movie.
It feels like, I mean, Nicolina tries to escape the scary 10-10 Van Cleef with probably no results, but let's see. Gosh, Fairy War Axe. What? She simply entered? What? Does she quit?
I mean, I assume she basically knows that she's already lost game, so
okay. I mean, yeah. She doesn't like concede probably. She's like, okay, you worth it. Win me. 1-0.
Yeah. All right. So Deathlord cues an unfavorable matchup to start, but does get that turn 1 10-10 Edwin again. This is why Rogue's top tier, because even in their unfavored matchups, you can make a 10-10 Edwin and just win the game. That's basically a win condition in of itself, and Rogue's pretty good.
Yeah, in my latest and probably my last best of 5 match, I was against Hotjouth, and he did the exact same thing. I queued up a Dragon Warrior. He just went for an 8-8 or 6-6 Van Cleef. GG. That's how strong it is, right? And you're right. That's why Rogue is tier 1. He can still have some chances, even in that matchup, you know. Gosh, and 1-0. That's a great win for Deathlord.
Ooh, and now game number 2 is going to be a grindy matchup. We haven't seen much of these lately, but it is going to be a Reno Mage versus a Reno Lock. And yeah, this is going to be really interesting matchup. VS Data Reaper has the matchup at 50-50. It's basically, or it's like 52% for the Reno Mage. So it's basically almost 50-50.
In my opinion, I think Reno Mage is favorable from my data.
So my perspective on this is this, right? So there's a number of ways you can build each of the decks, and like for example, for Reno Lock, combo is bad, and then for the Reno Mage, like burst is good. So like Ice Lance is actually a really good card. It really depends on like how the decks are built and if the players know how to adjust their win conditions throughout the game. I think it is a highly skill-based matchup. From my personal experience, from the Reno Lock side, I play a lot of from the Reno Lock side. I've been able to outplay a lot of Reno Mage players. It's definitely, again, when VS Data Reaper has it as a 50, 52, 48, I think it comes down to more skill rather than anything else.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from my that I have like 60%, but you're right. I mean, skills makes a lot of difference, especially my win condition, for example, in this matchup, which is something I rarely see, is Bran, Kazakus, and Manic Soulcaster on Kazakus.
Mm-hmm. But that's a 3-card combination that you're not reliably going to get off a lot of the time, right? And it's if the Reno Lock literally doesn't do anything, you draw your entire deck and are able to play those 3 cards together, great. But the thing is, there's going to be a lot of stuff that happens in the mid game where you can't just afford to wait and draw those cards.
I don't know. I'm still rooting for Reno Mage, even if it's not Death or I don't know. I just feel this deck. I love it.
Well, it's not about like who you're rooting for, right? We're just strictly talking about like just the matchup percentage.
Yeah, in my opinion, it should be 50-55. I mean, okay, I get it. You're right. It's mostly skill. I would give a small edge to Reno Mage. I mean, yeah, Data Report has done 52. You're right, if I recall. But it's, gosh, I don't know. I mean, okay, let's say Reno Lock plays a Mountain Giant and Twilight Drake, and Mage doesn't have a good answer. Reno Lock wins, right?
Yeah, I mean, so in this particular game, we do see that Deathlord is going to have Drake into Giant. He did have a polymorph for the Drake, so it's not too bad. Also, Nicolina was able to get a Water Alley on board, which is pretty decent tempo. And, you know, like in this particular case, I think Reno Mage is okay. But yeah, and in some games, for example, sometimes the Reno Lock plays like a Giant or a Drake. It's not dealt with, and then you can just face a Shambler it. And we do see that Deathlord does have a Shambler in his hand. So basically, if this Giant isn't dealt with, it's really, really hard for the Reno Mage to deal with 2 8/8s.
Okay, it seems like Deathlord found a good answer, but do you simply fireball, coin, trade the Imp-Gang? Oh,
no, he's gonna actually, or she's gonna actually go with the Dirty Rat here. It's kind of interesting.
Okay, that's an interesting play.
This is actually pretty good. It's a Smork line, right? She's basically pushing the damage to the face, making sure her minions stick, and then she's going to try to use Fireball and Forgotten Torch as reach. But again, this Shambler should come down on the Giant and kind of stop that.
Oh, Shambler. Okay. I mean... oh gosh, and that's a great card for her plan, right? Wait, yeah, 9, 12, 14. Oh, it's lethal.
I mean, of course, not immediately though.
No. Wait, it is. No, it's not immediately. Shit.
She doesn't. Calm down. All right, so
come on. It might be lethal. It might be. I'm seeing lethal, guys. Wait a moment. Let's see how in 2 turns. Let's do it in 2 turns. Do you?
So again, it's not lethal this turn. So Nicolina's has to find the optimal play to this turn first. I mean, she can just put all the burn spells to the face and have faith. I don't think that's necessarily a great line because it's really risky and your opponent can just Reno you. So I think flame striking here is really reasonable. I think trading in the Water Ellie is probably reasonable too. But yeah, I mean, Nicolene didn't have a great turn here. I mean, it's really, really hard to figure out what to do with this hand. I mean, knowing that Deathlord's hand that he doesn't have Reno, I mean, you're pretty much always gonna just throw your burn at his face and not play around Reno, but she's going to opt to not do that. And
my mind blacked out. I saw the right card and I was like, it's lethal, because if there wasn't a taunt, it was actually lethal. But yeah, I mean, Faceless Shuffler has a taunt. Silly me. I was so excited when I saw the Frostbolt. I was like, okay, that's 9, 10, 13, 15, but there's a taunt. Yeah, well done. But other than that, let's see how. I mean, she decided to change her style into more control, I guess.
Well, the Flame Strike in that spot simply just got way too much value. Cabala's Tomb was too slow. It was basically her best option. So I don't know if there was necessarily a stylistic change there, but I think she played that turn reasonably. She's actually really low. She's at 4, or she's at 12. Doesn't have an ice block.
That's a great Pavel's book there.
Oh yeah, that is going to allow her to deal with both of the giants. Looks like she's looking to trade her Water Alien, but I don't think she needs to do that, right? She can just Arcane Blast Torch and then keep the Water Alien around, and yeah, she's going to see the line here.
Yeah, it's much better. And also, it sets up a pretty good Roaring Torch if you draw it. So, yeah, actually, now we can talk about lethal, because if Deathlord doesn't, okay, he will probably destroy that board. Gosh, it's pretty tense. It's pretty tense. Roaring Torch, it's game.
Yeah. Well, this is going to give Nicolina an opportunity to set up the Cabala's Tomb. Let's see what she gets.
Maybe another Fireball.
Ooh, a Shatter. No, Shatter is actually not that bad.
With Blizzard, with 2 Blizzards, yes.
Yeah.
You're probably the first guy ever who goes like, "Ooh, Shadow, that's a great." I'm kidding. It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, when you have Blizzard,
like, cards are cards. I mean,
cards are cards.
I mean, Shatter is really bad in a vacuum, but sometimes you have Blizzard, or sometimes you have like Ice. I mean, even with Frostbolt, I mean, she's probably gonna want to save Frostbolt for like face damage, but yeah, I think Shatter's not that bad here.
Yeah. Okay, I agree. I mean, we saw it on BlizzCon, I think, on one game that Shatter was really crucial as well. So let's see. Nicolina has a Frostbolt. She no longer has a Fireball. And she has 2 Blizzards. Interesting.
Yeah, okay. Deathlord is going to go ahead and play as Peddler first. Yep. Doesn't really find anything that's that amazing. Probably just take the PO, yeah. But the thing is, like, I guess with this hand, there's just nothing to use the PO on. Like, he already has he has a PO. The 2 POs are kind of sitting dead in his hand at the moment. But we'll see. Gonna Kazakis for a 5. That's actually kind of interesting, because if he's gonna do that, like, would it be better to just Kazakis first, right? If you Kazakis first, you get you can play a 5-mana spell immediately. So I don't know about that ordering there.
Maybe he was thinking about Mortal Coil. If he Peddlers and Mortal Coil the 1/1, maybe he doesn't play Kazakus.
Okay. But this Firelands Portal is plus Frostbolt, that's 8, plus that's 9, so not quite lethal. Imagine this Blizzard actually gets in there pretty well. Yeah, I'd like to see a Blizzard and go face. And at this point, you probably ping face instead of pinging the Kazakis, because you're basically running out of resources in your hand. The Reno Lock's probably going to outvalue you at this point, given your hand. So you have to try to play for a win here, and I think pinging face is going to win you the game more often.
I agree. I mean, ping face, and next turn you have 9. Oh my god, it's getting tense.
Yeah. And Deathlord doesn't have any heal, doesn't have... It's really scary to tap, actually. Oh, actually, no, wait.
Oh my god!
Lethal. Spellbreak.
Oh,
double heal.
Oh, there.
Okay, yeah. So
it's lethal.
This...
GG. It's lethal.
I mean,
well
okay, I actually ended up forgetting that you can actually silence a frozen minion. But okay, for those of you who don't know the mechanic, you can silence a frozen minion and then attack with it. But the thing is, double PO wasn't lethal there. In order to make ping justifiable, you have to play around 3 exact cards, and a lot of people don't even run Spellbreaker. And so I think pinging face was still reasonable. I guess knowing the exact hand that, there was Hellfire and 2 POs, you're supposed to ping the Kazakus. But I think it's definitely reasonable for her not to, because she's trying to set up lethal next turn with like the Frostbolt, Firelance Portal ping, coin ping. So I think it's reasonable to ping face. It just happened to not work out there.
Yeah, I would definitely ping face too. I mean, you can't expect a Spellbreaker to double PO, and PO you got from a Dark Peddler. It's really unlikely. Plus, if he has Leroy and... I mean, yeah, it was the correct call. You can play around Spellbreaker, you are right. I mean, almost
you
no
have to
one plays
basically
it.
try to... setting up your own lethal is definitely is better than trying to play around a 3-card combination. Or actually, in that case, a 4-card combination. It was a 4-card combination. But yeah, we are going to go into game number 3 here. Deathlore is up 2-0 in the series, and Nicolina is going to be on Reno Mage versus Pirate Warrior. She's going to go ahead and just keep the Ice Block Reno Jackson. I don't see how she loses.
Yeah, we have seen this today too many times. Every time a Pirate goes against a Reno, we just see Reno on hand waiting. So I agree. It's a really good hand. Ice Block, Frost Nova, everything is perfect for Nicolina.
Mm-hmm.
So let's... Oh gosh, it gets even better.
It's kind of interesting.
No, it's just Thanos much better. Thanos, yes.
I think playing Thanos is a little bit better, yeah, because it cycles. It's a slow cycle card. You can play Doomsayer next turn in lieu of the Ice Block to deny the... So the thing is, your opponent didn't use the coins. So, I mean, if you play Doomsayer, they can't point out the Frothing Berserker that turn, and it slows them down for an entire turn. But you do have the Frost Nova, and Pirate Warrior typically don't have a good way of dealing with Frost Nova Doomsayer. So I guess saving them to combo them is a little bit better.
Okay. And she gets a good draw as well. I mean, Babbling Book makes sense here, even though Ice Block is good as well. I would probably Babbling Book being the minion.
I actually think that's probably the least attractive play for me. I think it's either going to be Block or Bran.
Not Doomsayer though, right? Oh,
actually, no. Actually, no. I take that back. I forgot you still have a you just Doomsayer this every time. I don't know what I'm talking about. You Doomsayer this like every time. You never play Block or Bran. What do I do? Yeah, Doomsayer every time.
Okay. And okay, I think right now Deathlord simply plays Warax deckhand. And he's still in a bad spot because Nicolina has the Reno, but at least he managed to kill the Doomsayer. My only thing is that if you didn't play it, why you don't go for the huge Doomsayer Frost Nova when you have it already, right? In like 2 turns.
Yeah, but at the same time, when the warrior has weapon plus charge minions, it's actually not that hard for them to deal with Frost Nova Doomsayer. So let's see what happens here off this Bran Babbling Book. Cabala's Tomb and Vaporize. So not the best spells, but again, with Ice Block Reno, she's gonna have so much time anyway, so she might even get use out of the Cabala's Tomb.
And also, I think Vaporize could work in a sense. I mean, maybe
it can shut down.
Yeah,
can shut down Kor'kron Elites.
Yeah, or Kor'kron Elites, you're right. So maybe it could work. It's not terrible. It's definitely not the best mage card you could get, but yeah. Let's see. I mean, yeah, right now I think Deathlord must play Keltis, so he has a perfect trade on Bran, and probably he will try to... Oh, he kept the second deckhand. He plays around Volcanic Potion here.
And yeah, Volcanic Potion ping seems really good here. Again, she's at 28. It's turn 5. She still has Ice Block, still has Reno. I mean, it's looking very, very grim for Deathlore.
Maybe even Ice Block being the 3/4 is okay too, if you want to get
No.
much greedy, like really greedy, and then
The thing is, like, you're gonna win this game,
like 90% of the time, yeah.
so yeah, you just shouldn't play greedy.
Yeah. Okay, and Keltist coin. I mean, it's weird for Deathlord. He really wants to put some pressure out, but now it's the time for Reno's AoE card like Blizzard and Flame Strike. So he's in a tough spot. Deathlord is in a really tough spot on what to do, and he doesn't even know that Nicolina has Reno.
I think I'm on board with either Cultist coin frothing or South Sea Captain coin frothing.
Oh.
I mean, basically, you should basically get two 3-drops out, and one of the 3-drops should be frothing.
Keltist.
Oh, actually, no. Well, in this case, no. I
Should
guess
be
buffing.
Yeah.
Buffing the cultist out of range is probably fine. I don't know. I really like getting frothing out as soon as possible because it's a card that carries you hard, and the sooner it gets on the board, the better generally. But it does make sense to play around a ping. Although we do see that Nicolina has like other cards like Blizzard, so I wonder if she just Blizzards here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Alternative, she can Ice Block Nova.
Frost Nova Ice Block.
Yeah. So Frost Nova Ice Block, bait out a few more minions perhaps before using the Blizzard. This Frost Nova is like good enough. Like this Frost Nova stops 11 damage.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, and I think Deathlord realizes that Nicolina has something like Blizzard or Flame Strike.
Mm-hmm.
And probably he's thinking that she has Flame Strike, so it's a tough position. I would simply attack and re-equip an Arcanite Reaper and wait. But again, how much time can you give to the Reno Mage? It's a really tough spot.
Yeah. Looks like he is going to go ahead and commit the South Sea, but isn't going to play the frothing. He's going to equip the Arcanite Reaper instead. Whoa, MC Tech picked up from Nicolina, so does that change anything?
No. Can you risk?
No, I think you just got to go for the Blizzard here.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it could go perfect, but it could go really bad, so there's no way. Oh,
Deathlord actually has a pop here.
Yeah, he can pop the Ice Block. I mean, you always do that, right?
Yeah, it's probably going to have to happen. But then Nicolina is just going to play Reno, use the Whelps to trade, and then ping. And then you're basically back to losing the game.
Yeah, but let's say you don't know your opponent's hand. If you pop, you have an Arcanite Reaper to attack again. So...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely have to. You definitely have to Leroy here. Yeah. But... Again, Nicolina's hand was so good that she was basically... It was basically impossible for her to lose this matchup.
And maybe even Kabbalist Stone will come handy. If it gets to that point where Deathlord simply tries to... Oh, gosh. That's a good draw.
Mm-hmm. This Flame Strike basically means that after the Reno, no matter what Deathlord does, he's never going to have control of the board at any point.
Yeah, exactly. And now he will try to probably Frothing Berserker, try to put some pressure, but the Flame Strike simply stops everything. And I don't think that Mortal Strike helps right here.
Mm-hmm. So with Reno Mage, Nicolina is going to put herself on the board 1-2. And again, I really like... She's the only person today who brought Reno Mage. I do think Reno Mage is a really, really strong tournament deck at the moment. If you've been watching CN versus NA, Reno Lock's one of the most popular deck choices in that tournament. So definitely surprised that not more people brought it here tonight.
I agree. It's a really good deck, and I expected more Reno Mages as well. But yeah, I mean, Deathler went for a more classic lineup, but still, Nicolina gets that win. She still has to win the Rogue versus Pirate, and
Yeah.
the Beneath the Grounds version, man, against Pirate. Oh gosh,
Yeah, she would
That's
have
a bad
liked
card.
the Rogue into the Reno lock. Unfortunately, though, didn't end up getting that. And yeah, I mean, what she can always just do what Deathlord did to her, which is make a 10-10 Edwin on turn 1. So there's
True.
always that.
True. I'm pretty sure around here Deathler will concede. Yeah, there it is. There's no card that brings him in. Yeah. Well done. 2-1. We have a series. So I think that the players are preparing for the fourth game. And in Nicolina's position, do you play do you go for your hard matchup, Rogue against Warrior? Or
So
now
again,
that
you're
you
gonna
won,
have to
right?
win with both of them, so it doesn't matter. So one thing that might matter is that so there's a system where basically if you had the coin last game, you're less likely to have the coin the next game, and a lot of people use that to try to get the coin when they play the Rogue. So last game, Nicolina didn't have the coin as the Reno Mage, so queuing the Rogue to try to get a higher chance of getting the coin makes some sense. There we go. Nicolina does have the coin, so I think a lot of Rogue players try to manipulate that to try to get the coin when they play Rogue. Unfortunately, Nicolina doesn't go for that, so it means that next game, if she does win next game as the Rogue, she's less likely to have the coin. So that is actually going to be a little bit unfortunate.
That's really interesting. Are there stats out, or because it's really interesting, something that Blizzard would pick up?
I mean, I don't know who's actually tested this, but I have heard this a lot, and maybe it's just speculation. But
yeah, I mean, you're right though. Yeah, she got the coin. So yeah, let's see. Right now, Deathler in this matchup, I think, it's not the side that. It's not any side that has a big advantage, right? I mean, maybe the side that has a coin. What's your opinion on this mirror? Who has the biggest advantage?
It's hard to say. I mean, if the player with the coin gets a huge swing turn with it, I think it's okay. I typically think that in aggro mirrors, you'd rather go first because going first and having the perfect hand is generally better. But we will see. Deathlord is going to go ahead and play his Buccaneer on turn 1. He might just upgrade on turn 2 just to buff it up. Nicolina does pick up a War Axe, though. So the question is, like, how does she use the coin this turn or next turn, right? She can go ahead and clear the Buccaneer with patches plus the weapon, or actually just coin out the deckhand, use the deckhand to clear, and then use the weapon on the patches. Okay, this is a pretty good use of it because basically you're pretty flexible for next turn, right? If Deathlord doesn't develop anything, right, you can just play your Finley and be kind of happy about it. Or if Deathlord, is in a situation where he has a tempo out like a 2/3 Blood Cell, then you can just play your War Axe.
And Deathlord went for the upgrade. I mean, it's the best you could do. And right now, yeah, I think Nicolina is in a pretty good position.
I do like the Finley here.
Yeah. Even though War Axe could be okay, there's no way Deathlord is not trading into patches and letting you use Keltist. So Sir Finley is much better.
Yeah.
Oh, but the hero powers are questionable. Gosh.
Yeah, these so basically you already have a bunch of weapons, so you're never taking rogue. So I guess you take heal because in this matchup, if it gets to the point where both players are trying to outrace each other, it can matter.
Yeah. You're never considering the 1/1? Unlikely, right? It's bad. It could work, maybe, but yeah, generally it's bad. So
This is a really good turn for Nicolina. She can go ahead and play War Axe, trade, and then Dread Corsair, and then the turn after, she can Dread Corsair and Cultist. Like, guaranteed get another charge out of that War Axe.
Yeah, I think that's the best play.
Yeah, and Deathlord doesn't have a good way of dealing with this. I mean, his best option is to run a Kor'kron into it. Oh, actually, he picks up a War Axe, so maybe you just War Axe it instead. All right, he is going to just War Axe it instead, a little bit better than running a Kor'kron into it. The minions are a little bit more valuable than the weapon charges. But again, it's really, really slow. So Nicolina is basically going to take huge initiative.
Okay, I think that Deathlord is in a better position.
You think so?
Yeah. Okay, my point is that Nicolina has one card, which is pretty dead. Deathlord will probably trade both things right now. Maybe if he somehow manages to control the board, he will have
actually
most value of his hand, right?
Yeah, you're actually right.
I think that okay, that's a good draw, but even now, Deathlord can Kor'kron trade, hero power. Nicolina has the priest hero power. That was a great draw for Nicolina, but maybe Deathlord can do it. Let's see.
Yeah, you're right. If Nicolina had whiffed on this draw,
yeah, that was. Yeah.
Or even not whiff, maybe like a Frothing Berserker, right? If Nicolina drew like a Frothing Berserker, Deathlord just takes a value trade with one of his Kor'krons, then next turn develops another Kor'kron, and then Nicolina might not have had the ability to deal with that. And even though Deathlord is at 9, he still has armor up, so he can still stabilize versus some of the damage top decks that Nicolina can do.
Exactly. I think that Nicolina had the perfect draw, and again, she gets a nice draw too, but Deathlord can respond. I mean, sometimes in this matchup, you can use your Kor'kron elites as ways to defend, right? To play the value game, and right now, Deathlord's gonna do that, and Nicolina is probably just going face.
Right, there's no reason for her to trade. She has less cards in hand. She's the aggressor. Deathlord is going to win a longer game.
And now it's just one bad draw from Nicolina, and Deathlord is back. Like, Deathlord will probably Kor'kron Elite, Enzoth, Hero Power, trade both Kor'krons, and try to survive. So one bad draw. Like, I don't know what's really bad in this situation. Even Buccaneer doesn't feel really good. I mean, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's Kor'kron and Zoth and Hero Power here.
Yeah, I like that as well. You can choose to. If you play out the South Sea Captain, I mean, it's definitely a little bit risky because you are. Well, actually, is it? You're dead to almost the same amount of things. Actually, I guess no. The Captain makes a lot of sense too because you're not dead to anything that deals 4. So typically against Pirate Warrior, the soft spot is 5. If you can play around 4, you don't play around 6. Does that make sense?
Okay. No. You're right. I think that play was much better. I like to Hero Power every turn just for the extra 2, but I guess that's a bit better. Oh, and I like Deathlord's play here. So it's the same thing that you said, I think. Wait, so he gets to 5, so he doesn't play around anything?
No, well, at this stage,
point,
Nicolina has the weapon, so she actually wins on a lot of top decks now. But the South Sea was better immediately for one turn, but I think the fact that she got her Rusty Hook upgraded meant that she had more sustained damage over the next few turns. So in that, because of that upgrade top deck, I think the armor up was marginally better in that spot. But and also, I guess the Tempo Leroy there, probably the right play because you have to get in there and try to outrace. But if you're going to go for the Leroy this turn, I mean, I guess it made more sense to armor up last turn. I don't know. It's hard to say.
So you could trade
Nicolina was in
as well.
Yeah, Nicolina was in a situation where she was the aggressor all game. She needed a few more top decks, and I think over time she probably could have gotten there anyway. But anyway, she is going to be able to tie up the series, so it is going to be Rogue versus Pirate Warrior to decide this week's champion.
And yeah, I mean, Deathlor won that mirror, so Nicolina has to do the same. If she has, okay, that's not the dream hand, Deathlor hand, and you're right, the coin thing again. What the hell? We should report that to Blizzard, man. It's the same thing you said, right? Now,
I mean,
Deathlor has a coin.
I do think they know about it, but it's something that I think it's something that maybe should be in the game. Again, it can be manipulated, but I think they don't want like large streaks where people are on the coin or not on the coin, right? So they want to make it, if you had the coin before, it's less likely you have the coin next game. I think it's reasonable to have that in place.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, Nicolina doesn't have a great hand like Deathlord before, but it's still an okay hand. I mean, if you questing adventure, backstab, and maybe if you even draw a prep right now, that could be a great hand. If you next turn go for the questing adventure, backstab, prep, eviscerate. But she really needs something. So let's see. Probably Hero Power is the right call right here.
So the question is, do you backstab now or do you backstab next turn because you think that you need to get you need to use it to buff up your questing? So it basically means that you're going to take an extra 3 damage a lot of the time, but I think it's reasonable to save the backstab here. But although in this situation, buffing up your your questing adventure an extra health doesn't actually make a difference because it's still going to die to the War Axe anyway.
Okay. So in this situation, do you ever consider sap? Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. I'm just dropping an idea.
I don't think you sap this. If you are gonna go for a non-questing backstab line, I think you just eviscerate it.
Or okay, yeah, you're right. Probably just eviscerate. So my idea is that with this hand, you probably have to go for a big questing adventure.
Yeah, sap, you can go for questing backstab cold blood next turn, which takes it out of.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was considering sap, but actually eviscerate is much more better. So next turn, adventure, backstab, and cold blood. You get it at 4 health. Should be good. Let's see. Deathlor's hand. 2 captains, Bloodsail Raider. What do you think?
I mean, you probably just want to jam out
Raider and deck. Yes.
No. You want to get a captain out as soon as possible. If you're gonna play the deckhand, you should play the Raider, or not. Sorry, not the Raider. The captain, because it buffs it up to a 3/2.
Okay.
Looks like he's gonna actually conserve the coin.
Yeah, you can captain and play a deckhand double baft.
I don't know how I feel about conserving the coin there. I think getting in for an extra 3 damage. I think trading your coin for a 3/2 or for an earlier 3/2 makes a lot of sense, but he is going to decide to play it a little bit slower.
Maybe because he didn't have a turn 4 play too as well, maybe. Because if he coined out the deckhand, he has 3, 2, and 5 mana. Maybe, I don't know. He was thinking, okay, he actually drew a Heroic Strike.
Yeah, but is that the best way to clear here?
No. Probably. Okay, let's see.
I think something like Raider deckhand could be better. Oh, he's going to go for it. Again, though, I personally would have liked to see the deckhand get coined out a turn earlier, because now what is his coin really doing? His coin isn't actually doing anything anymore.
You're right. Should have been better. And the card we discussed about, that card is pretty much terrible in this matchup. So the fact that Nicolina drew that makes it even worse. She has to sap and Hero Power. Yeah, that's probably the best play. I mean, somehow she has to buy time, and maybe if she draws a prep, maybe there is some hope in the horizon. I mean, what do you think about the game right now? Who do you favor?
Well, Nicolina's still at 19, but Deathlord's got a Pyroblast over 2 turns, plus a Heroic Strike. Drawing a Frothing Berserker here means that he's more incentivized to try to take the board back. But another thing is that Nicolina's never going to get a minion to stick, because Deathlord's in a situation where even if he takes a minion removal approach, he's still going to win the game, because the Rogue can just whiff draws for like the next few turns. And so, yeah, Deathlord is just going to use Frothing Heroic Strike. Yeah, like I said, the minion removal approach, because Rogue actually runs a pretty low amount of minions in their deck. So in situations like this, you can kind of actually just win the attrition war rather than going all face.
Yeah, and that's a bad draw for Nicolina. I mean, you probably just auction it here and hope for the best. There's not much you can do. And Deathlord has a perfect play. Oh, she goes face. Oh gosh, that's an epic draw.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Pretty much, yeah, that might settle the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game was over a little bit even sooner. Again, just because when the Rogue, all they have is like a Gadget Zen Auctioneer as their only proactive minion. They're usually in a situation where if the Auctioneer doesn't get value and just gets cleared, they can't do anything.
There's no draw that saves her right now, I think. Prep, Fun of Nice, to... I don't know. No, nothing. SI Agent, maybe? If she runs it. Oh, okay.
No, we do know we do know that this is a questing list. We've seen the questing multiple times.
There's no way she runs one, right? Unlikely. Yeah. GG. She doesn't concede yet. Let's see if Deathlord will pick the 4/4. Come on, do your job. Ah, he picks up a Leroy. Well done.
Right.
To Deathlord, and yeah, he finally wins the tournament. The thing we discussed, right? He's here from day one. It's finally his time to shine.
Yeah. So, congrats to Deathlord. He's been back week after week. It's been falling short a lot of times, but he is going to take it down here over Nicolina 3-2. Unfortunately for Nicolina, she will not be our first female champion, although she'll probably be back again sometime soon. If you're a fan of hers, stick around.
Definitely. Yeah, we are trying to make the tournament to 8 coaches. You know, that's the plan. So we might see even more coaches that we actually have seen till now. Maybe some new names, and hopefully she will join us again soon. We might not have our first female winner. We have our first Greek winner, so that's something for us. Congratulations to Deathlord, but congratulations to Nicolina as well. I think she played almost flawlessly, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a play where we said that was a mistake. I mean, high-level plays by all the players today.
Yep. And of course, she did really well in the Reno Mage too, and she was the only person that brought it. I don't like Reno Mage as an archetype myself, but I do like diversity. So I would like to see a bit more Reno Mage next week.
I'm pretty sure it will happen.
All right, awesome. All right, so we are going to have Deathlord join us for a quick call. We are going to interview him as soon as our producer sets that up.
Yeah, we should.
We're going to have a small break before the interview. We'll be right back. Deathlord will be interviewed after the quick break.
goes, there is also misery. It's no mystery. And you and I, we got history. Yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy. When we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history. Yeah. Go look in the
Ora mä kuunnen τώρα.
sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain.
Α, πρέπει να κλείσω το zoom.
All the pain.
Οκ.
Find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday 100. We have our champion here, Deathlore, here for an interview. What's going on, Deathlore?
All good. As you can see, I'm pretty tired. But yeah, feels good.
Yeah, I mean you've been battling it out for like the last few weeks. Haven't found a champion yet. You've made some rivals. I'm one of them. But you finally pushed through the end there. Like how have you? How does it feel right now to finally have that championship?
It feels good. I feel rewarded for trying. I think it was like I wasn't in the last one, but I played in the one before the last one. So yeah, it feels good to finally win. Unfortunately, I couldn't analyze most of the turns, so I just I just went with what felt right because I was so tired after playing for so many hours. But yeah, I'm gonna win. I won this one, and I'm gonna win every single one in the next week. So.
Oh, that's definitely a winner's attitude. So yeah, just talk a little bit about your lineup that you've been bringing. I've kind of noticed that you've kind of been sticking to the same lineup. And just tell us about it.
Yeah, it's one of the standard lineups. I mean, we're playing 4 of the strongest decks out there. Pirate Warrior is excellent because most people bring Rogue, and even if you have some bad matchups, you are expected to win the Rogue. Rogue is good because people bring Rhinolock, but it's kind of in a weird spot right now because it's you have to face warriors if you ban shamans. I bring Shaman because it's pretty standard and probably the strongest decks, and my 4th choice is Rhinolock, and I'm not sure Rhinolock is the best choice, but it's the deck I've played the most, and I mean, playing comfort picks is never a bad thing. So
I do. I mean, yeah, that is definitely the standard lineup. This is the lineup that I've been playing myself as well. You did talk about how like you weren't sure about Reno Lock, and Kirst actually brought Jadra this time, and I've been seeing Jadra come out more because it does make sense with a Shaman ban, but it's also just really, really good against Reno Mage if you really wanted to, target that. But how do you feel? How do you feel about that substitution, or do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I would rather play Reno Lock because like the problem with Jade Druid is it's excellent against some decks like Reno Mage, but if you don't face these decks, you may go ahead and play like against rogues or warriors, and I don't really want to face these matchups. And I feel like Jade Druid is I mean, it's not a deck I've played a lot. It's pretty easy to play, but I would rather play a deck with high skill cap over Jade Druid, except if I feel it's the best option.
Yeah, I mean, Jade Druid, you're right, definitely does have way too many weaknesses other than Shaman, right? All right, those are the other questions I have. Do you have any questions, FKI Shadow?
No, I'm pretty happy for Deathlord. I mean, amazing performance in the game against Frosty, the Reno Lock Mirror. We here on the cast, we were like, there's no way you're winning, but I think the Sylvanas Shadow Flame play was really huge. Do you think Frosty misplayed in any turns and gave you a chance? Because he was pretty much ahead.
Yeah, I know he was ahead, but I didn't see any mistakes because I couldn't see his hand. Sometimes the mirror match, if both players play combo, sometimes you may feel you are behind, but you can just turn the game around in one turn because there's like board presence barely matters in this matchup. And I had a terrible start, so I just played to win the game, and I got lucky with a second PO from the Peddler and won.
Yeah, I mean, it really just came down to, well, he had the early game board advantage, but you had a lot of swing cards. You had Nether, which you didn't even need to use, but you also had the Sylvanas Shadow Flame. You drew the Reno at the right time, which heals you back to full. Yeah, definitely, you had all the swing cards.
And that's what you need, right?
Yeah.
Or a 10-10 Van Cleef on turn 1.
Oh yeah.
I guess that helps sometimes.
Did you like the trade on the 2-3?
We had a disagreement on you either eviscerate face or a Finlay. I called face, Astro called I called Finlay, Astro called face. What's your opinion on this play?
Oh, I didn't even think about eviscerating face. But
yeah, I just my perception is that Rogue should be as smork as possible. So yeah, basically, like if you like went for the Abyss on the face, you get a 10-10. The Finley doesn't do anything, right? And then you're basically putting yourself in a situation where even if you like whiff on draws, your Van Cleave, as long as it gets in, your dagger is going to get in. If you draw like any damage spell, you basically win. Yeah,
but I mean, basically the way I played the game eventually, like because I traded the 2-3 in the next turn. If I had eviscerated the face, then she could. I have to get used to the she. She just ping like with the hero power and trade the Finlay. I don't think that was a winning play anyways. But yeah, I didn't even think about eviscerating the face. I mean, in the next turn it was a very hard call to trade at the 10-10 or go face with the 10-10. Because usually you don't want to trade there, but I felt with in this exact spot it was a better play to trade because I really wanted to protect my 1-2.
Yeah, I think that made a lot of sense. But again, like I said though, I'm just a little bit more smorky, and I like to go face.
I know, me too. I suffered. You didn't see how much I suffered.
You suffered.
Yeah, it was a pretty good tournament, and something in Greek. I think you should say some Greeks for the fans that are up till now. Yeah, that's the right word. I mean, Greek fans got the point. Sorry, Astro. It's inside joke. You can't know.
No worries. All right then. With those final words from Deathlord to his fans, we are gonna close the show for the week. It was a great day of games, and once again, congratulations to Deathlord. Before we close, I got a few more plugs. And throughout this week, And next week, we are going to have Sensei TV from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, where GamerSensei coaches are going to be streaming their coaching lessons on the GamerSensei app Twitch channel. And those streams and also today's VOD will also be uploaded to the YouTube channel. So go check out GamerSensei on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube for all of our amazing content. And with that, we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Good night.